It's an honor. Let me just say it's an honor to be on this panel. I'm a socialist too. I don't know. I guess it's no coincidence that we're all socialists on this panel. And I was going to get into that later, but I might as well get into that now. You know, like, it's really no coincidence that, like, what built the mass struggles in the 1930s, it was socialists and communists and radicals who led those struggles at that time period. And it was because, you know, it wasn't just an accident. It was because they had, like, they had great leadership. They knew who to ally with. You know, they knew who to not ally themselves with. They had long-term goals. These are the things that we need to do today. You know, we need to have long-term goals. We need to know who our allies are. We need to know who our enemies are. We had already raised on this panel the Democratic Party. We do not need an alliance with the Democratic Party. We do not need to be voting for the Democrats anymore. This is a party who you know, if we're giving any money to it at all, it's money that's worse than flushing it down the toilet. You know, we're giving money to the people that hurt us. If you look at the Democratic Party's policies, like look at under the Obama administration, like it was brought up in last night's panel, how the Obama administration has been responsible for deportations at a faster rate than under the Bush administration. And that hurts unions, because you have immigrants who want to join unions but are reluctant to want to be active at all in their workplaces for fear of deportation. So, and that's just one of the many reasons not to support the Democratic Party. They're blatantly anti-union stances. Like, if you look at the Chicago Teachers Union, when they went on strike against a Democratic Party machine in Chicago, which I want to get into them. I might as well get into them now. Really, we have a lot to learn about the Chicago Teachers Union. They forged an alliance with the public, you know, which had been forged prior to them going out on strike in 2012. That alliance was formed because the Chicago Teachers Union was helping to stop school closings, which they were unsuccessful in doing, but because they forged this alliance with the public, they had the public support when they went out on strike in 2012. We need to do that as telecom workers. There's ways that we can do that as Verizon employees. One of the ways we can do that is fighting not just for the unionization of wireless workers, but for the regulation of Verizon Wireless. Verizon Wireless needs to be regulated. Part of the reason why people saw the need to regulate home phone service is because people said, well, home phone service is like a necessity. You know, you need to be able to call 911 in the event of an emergency, or call your doctor. You know, like, aside from the convenience of having a phone, you know, and the fun, you know, it's nice to be able to talk to people. There's a necessity of having a phone. It's less necessary now to have a home phone, but that was the justification for having regulation. And that regulation still stands for home phone service. Wireless, there's even more of a justification for regulation for wireless. You know, I could be in a car accident. You know, my home phone isn't going to help me there, so I could call from my cell phone if I need it at any time. There's more of a justification for regulation of wireless than home phone. Same thing with internet. Why can't we call for the regulation of internet? Even beyond, like, net neutrality, like in terms of people say if you're low income, there should be a discounted rate for internet. There should be a regulation that calls for a discounted rate for wireless for low income people. There's already such a regulation for home phones. There's something called Lifeline, where if you're poor enough to qualify, you can have a discounted rate for home phone service. So I can't see why we can't fight for that. All these things that we could do publicly to build an alliance with the public, you know, so that if and when we have to go on strike or if we're locked out, we could have the support of the public. Just a couple of odds and ends. It's important that we need to save money. It's easier said than done, but we don't know what could happen. I didn't think we were going to go on strike in 2011 until a couple of days beforehand, and I was like, all right, it's going to happen. We could be on strike in 2015. We could be locked out in 2015. Who knows? You know, so it's important to spread the word to our brothers and sisters that we need to do everything we can to save every penny, as difficult as that may be. This is a big one. We need to support other unions, regardless of whether they support us back or not. regardless. Just support every union struggle there is, every union struggle we could relate to. And it's important because, like Amy had mentioned, pensions, right? And how we seemed so odd, we seemed so strange because we had, benefits that we didn't have to pay into, right? And now we pay into them with this current contract. But at the time, we seemed so strange because everybody else is paying into their benefits, so why can't we? But if we're supporting other unions, right? We're supporting other struggles. We're doing so to raise the bar. Why can't other workers have a pension? Why can't other workers have benefits they don't have to pay into? But if we're just leaving everybody else to fight for themselves, that likelihood is not that realistic. You know, we have to be supporting each other's struggles. Just another odd thing to mention. I thought it was kind of outrageous when new hires didn't get pensions, like they're not guaranteed pensions with this current contract. I thought that was kind of outrageous. All they're really guaranteed is a 401k, which basically 401ks is like we're putting money into something, again, we're putting money into something that stabs us in the heart. Every time the stock market sees that a company lays off thousands of people, the stocks increase. So we're giving money to an institution that is opposed to us, that benefits from our layoffs. So why can't we be fighting for pensions more than 401ks? And I think that's about it. Thank you.
All right, covered a lot of ground.